What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 154 of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, movie news, and Sonic movie news. My name is Ethan, and with me here to react to whatever the Bill Clinton thing was is Devin.
That was gonna be my quote, but now it might. There's information that maybe he's related to Infowars, or I don't fucking know. It's confusing. All I'm gonna say is that I'm really tired. Every year,
Can I interrupt you for a second? Jeff
yeah, we
Keighley
have breaking
tweeted 3
news.
minutes ago, the individual who interrupted our Game of the Year moment has been arrested.
Oh my fucking god. Dumbass.
Kid standing. Sorry. I just wanted to
Yeah,
look.
yeah.
Okay, we have a confirmation. Where
It
the
really
fuck
sucks that
dumbass
I feel
was.
like all the attention's gonna be on that and not that or any of the other shit in the
Right.
show. But who knows? Maybe this will help the Game Awards get even bigger because then maybe media outlets, even other media outlets, or maybe will report on me like, hey, this guy came up. But I also think it's a really bad security.
Yeah, I mean, what if
issue.
he said something? I mean, that
Worse.
was weird and obviously some sort of meme
It,
alt right in joke thing. But
yeah,
what if he said something? I don't know. Number one, he could have said something that could have offended a government like China or something that could have blocked the Game Awards from the future. But also quote unquote real things. Like he could have said something really racist, or he could have said something, I don't know, apartheid wasn't real,
or I'm
or
just saying
something
in
like
the
that.
in the world we live in, where especially in the United States, where there's all this awful shit out there, people dying and shit like that. That's concerning as fuck to all the people there that they just let some random. And and you can go watch on YouTube. Obviously, there's folks watching this maybe live right now as we record this. But on YouTube, you can go watch our live reaction if you're listening to this days later.
Yes.
To that particular moment, and before he even said anything, we're like, "Who the fuck is that kid?" Like we didn't see him when they went up earlier because the Elden Ring folks won, what was it, best role playing game earlier, and they went up on stage,
Yeah.
right?
But it was
So we
just
saw them,
it wasn't
just them.
everyone though.
Still, we thought we're like, that's weird. Like maybe they're part of their family or something. We didn't think too much into it, but yeah. Then they're doing the music, like the show's over. You know what I mean? Jeff is gonna do his one last little spiel, and all of a sudden you hear the mic, and it's this freaking kid saying, "I'd like to dedicate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton," which we're like, "What the fuck?" Just super
And
weird.
that's one of those. He must have thought that was funny when he wrote it down a couple days ago when he planned it out or something like that. But it's such a nothing of a statement. Like, what does it even mean? You know what I mean? But whatever.
Yeah, I feel like they're trying to do a punchline of just like it's like the whole.
That's what makes me
the
think it's like some
Clintons,
sort of weird in joke thing that we're not aware of.
some alt right bullshit,
Yeah.
like you said. Where
I
it's
want to
just
know
like,
what his
oh,
plan
Bill
was
Clinton,
afterwards.
yeah.
Like he got arrested, and it's been 5 minutes, 7 minutes, something like that since that happened. Maybe 10 minutes by now. I don't know. And
And he
was
also
his plan to
ruined.
just run away?
Yeah, yeah. Well, so one, I think this is a little bit on. I don't want to say necessarily Jeff Keighley. It could be the venue security isn't good, so that could be an issue. Just I hope they don't do that venue again. Maybe after that, I wouldn't if I was Jeff Keighley. If you don't think it was your fault or whatnot, I'm not saying it is his fault, but when you're the face of the show, I feel like that kind of
Right.
gets
I
put
mean,
on
it's not
you
a
for a
good
little
look.
bit. But
And it
still, it
literally
sucks that was the
was the
last
end of it.
award. Last award. Those people want to remember it for the rest of their lives, and now everyone's just gonna talk about that fucking kid. I mean,
Yeah.
it is funny though. I mean, there's been already memes that we retweeted that are kind of funny, but still, it kind of sucks for them. Doesn't matter who won. You know what I mean? It just that sucks that happened. But yeah, I hope that doesn't happen again. And it's just I don't know. I'm just more concerned of just public safety shit, just because of the world we live in. Unfortunately, that you're just letting a random dude up on stage.
Yeah. In any case,
And it's live. It's not pre-recorded,
right.
or there's no Zoom feed you can quickly
Right,
cut
right.
off or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just
He-
honestly,
I mean,
this
next
is
year
not the
there's
Will
gonna
Smith
be-
slap though.
No. but
But
that was at least entertaining. This was
To a
just
degree,
weird.
yeah.
Right. In any
Yeah.
case, yeah, Game Awards just happened as the time of this recording. We are also live, but we might not be doing this all the time. yeah, so bunch of stuff happened. I don't know if you have the winners up as a list here. We can
I
just
don't.
kind of
That's
talk about our experiences. I would say there was a bunch of reveal stuff that usually happens, and there's some awards, and then there's some ads, and ads not meaning trailers, but like ads. But we
like
were,
there was the Grubhub
oh
PUBG
my god, like
ad
at
that they
least four
showed
or five
twice.
times.
It felt like,
Um,
yeah.
I still don't think they have the correct ratio and pace. This year, I felt like there were more awards that were not presented on stage where they read the name off each one and then the winner comes up and accepts it. There's only like a handful, like maybe five, maybe six. Last year, I remember there were certain ones that accepted it that this year is just the Jeff just runs them down and just says the winner. Jeff says runs the next one. And like this happens all I remember 2017 Score was one that they did in the pre-show, right? Because Nier Automata won that one. I remembered that. It's the only thing it won, I'm pretty sure. Was for best score, which I mean makes sense for that time. So like they're experimenting still. I would still like as many as possible being someone comes up on stage, but maybe you really tighten that award speech down to 30 seconds. I don't know. I don't know how long like the Oscars do it or anything like that, because they started off letting Christopher Judge do his thing, and I don't really care how long it went, but for the sake of, if that means more awards can come in, maybe you shorten that, way the hell down. Because yeah, and after that they're like, we need to save time, so best accessibility innovation one real quick, next one real quick. Like they were playing the music really quickly. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I still say that the Game Awards, at least the last 5 years, I feel like has come a long way. If you look at it from that perspective, but I still agree. I don't think it's where it is perfected yet. I don't know if it ever will be, but at least I feel like maybe compared to last year, I feel like it's about the same. I know in the past too, maybe I'm just misremembering, maybe I'm thinking of like an E3 or something, but like where there was a lot more like conversations on stage. You know what I mean? Like they'd be presenting, talking about a game. So I like that they didn't have that as much, because if it's not a game I'm interested in, it just feels like I'm waiting. You know what I mean? At least, even if there's a pacing issue, they were pretty quick after the first couple things. At least it felt like, I'm like, hey, if I'm not interested in this, at least it felt like it was over quickly enough.
Yeah.
So I'll give it credit for that, because it's hard to keep everyone entertained. In a medium that has so much different varieties. You know what I mean? Not everyone's gonna like role playing games. Not everyone's gonna like RTSs. Not everyone's gonna like the Call of Duties or the sports games, whatever, right? But I feel like he tries his best to put a little bit of everything in there for everyone. I still feel like it's sometimes a little too heavy on like the big name stuff, but I get why, because that's what people like. So sometimes I wish they maybe brought in a little bit more indie stuff. But I guess that's what E3 and Summer Games Fest that he does now is more about.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like, I don't know, I don't really call it a big critique or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, like, just think about like where it was 10 years ago, where I feel like not many people took it seriously. So I feel like people are taking it more seriously now, especially the people actually winning awards. You know what I mean? Like, and how many people there weren't even there for like the company that they work for? You know, there's just random people we know in the industry. So I think that's cool. One thing I wish, Jeff Keighley isn't very political, really, especially after the Activision thing last year. He did kind of a safe thing with that.
And I think
that I wish
he does it in a way, to give, I think, a little context. I think it's because he's trying to make sure he can get as many companies involved in countries. Because again, every year he mentions that the show is streamed in China. And I don't know. I know almost nothing about China as a culture, people, and government, etc. And I know those are three different things. When people say China, sometimes they mean one particular thing. You know, usually the bad stuff is the government and not the culture or the people. But like stuff doesn't. So I like the fact that it was able to get in at all. Probably means that he's nervous about doing something to get it taken out.
Yeah, I'm more of just like considering the news of like IGN layoffs this morning, earlier today, that like during what it's like, let's be real, even if we don't take it as seriously, for a lot of people in the gaming industry, this is like the Super Bowl for the year outside of maybe what E3 used to be.
Right, when
you know what I
that's
mean?
gone.
Like this is
Yeah.
like your one part of your probably of every year that you have marked on your calendar, whether you like it or not, but it's just like it's an important day for the industry. And people, and like, let's be real, there's no journalism, like no one knows about half this shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no journalism, there's no people voting in your award show either, to a degree. So I just wish there was a shout out to IGN in any sort of way. I find it just kind of disappointing.
I
But I
could
get
argue that they're not the people making the games. Although
they're part of
one
the
of their people
community.
is one of their people is the other presenter, Sydney, I think was her name. She works at IGN.
Yeah.
I don't know if
She
she's
said that
there
at
on
the
behalf
beginning.
of IGN or just herself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But she did say at the beginning, because we had the stream from the start, so we saw the quote unquote pre-show. They didn't really call it that, but they had a little countdown like they did last year. I think they did.
Yeah.
The little timer in the corner. And yeah, she mentioned I'm from IGN, but yeah, she didn't say if. But still, like, I don't know. I'm just a little disappointed on that, just considering that, and then also just how many times has that been a problem in the gaming industry of just people being laid off, or crunch, or harassment.
And
It just feels like, this is the thing with the Game Awards, and just I feel like what a lot of, I'm not speaking for us, I wouldn't say, but is that some people in the industry, I think, really want gaming to be like seen as just as good as like movies and television, which I'm not debating right now. I'm just saying is that it's funny that they want to be seen as better perhaps than that, but they're the same problems you see in Hollywood that you see in the gaming industry, where there's this crunch, long hours, people not getting paid fairly, layoffs, and all those kind of things, that it's just, I don't know, it just makes me think about that. But I'm not trying to be too negative, because I did like the show and whatnot, but I just, one thing, like, I was like waiting for that to happen. I didn't really mention it too much on stream because I didn't want to be like a Debbie Downer sounding kind of person, but yeah, that was just one thing I just now, like, after the show's over, like, you're asking me, that just kind of came to my mind a little bit more. That it's just, I wish there was something there, but like you said, he's trying to make this bigger, so he's got to play. Not saying necessarily to China, but just like you said, he can't call out Activision too much,
because he would still they're new daddies and mommies of Microsoft. Because remember, 2019. The Game Awards was where the Xbox Series X was shown, announced, and everything, besides the price and the date.
And they couldn't. And we know that all the companies are capable of doing their own directs and getting maybe not the same audience level, but close enough to where
Microsoft wanted to reveal. They did it then. Maybe they won't if the Activision thing somehow, I don't know. But just to say the IGN thing real quick, they're like the last of 10 that have happened this year. With Fanbite and Vice and Kotaku, or the whole,
there was another one
Media.
today too,
so
as well.
Many. So that's
also,
sucks,
I think because we're about to hit a recession, and I think all these companies see the writing on the wall kind of thing, and they're just, I think this is just, you're going to see that in all industries. I mean, you've already saw it at Amazon and a couple other places as well, bigger name companies. But sorry,
the show.
Yeah.
God of War and Elden Ring won a bunch of awards. Stray won 2 awards, which was cool.
I think that was good for them, because we didn't. I don't think we said they were going to win any of them.
We assumed they wouldn't. Horizon didn't win anything.
Poor Horizon.
Poor
Gorilla, right?
Yeah. What else? Sifu did not win Best Fighting Game. Go figure. It was Multiverses.
I feel like our scorecard, that like the one that we guessed on, I feel like we got at least 80%.
We got a
right,
lot of it correct.
Yeah. I think compared to last year, I think we did a lot better.
Yeah.
Despite us both, I feel like, not playing majority of the games that were nominated.
Right. I barely played any of the ones that were up there. I play a lot of Strangers of Paradise. Final Fantasy Origin, though, where was that? I know Paris, the game looked like butt, and like the frame rate was terrible, and the resolution was awful, and everything was not good. I had fun. You know what I mean? Where was that? Where was Valkyrie Elysium? I didn't even play this game yet, but it's sitting there, you know. Um, yeah, I mean, it made sense to me that Elden Ring would win. It was just, I think that game won the most anticipated game from last year. You know, it's just that hyped force. Like, I bet Elder Scrolls 6 will be similar. Shit, they announced a new Armor Core 6. That was
Looks cool.
leaked. Intention of it was leaked. Coming next year, it has to clearly be, because From Software makes games fast, like really fast, like almost a game every 2 years. And I believe they have multiple teams at this point, but it is still like generally always Miyazaki helming each and every one of them. I don't know if this is similar. It's From Software, that's all we know. So they could even just be a publisher and maybe it's someone else making it on the side.
And isn't that coming out literally next year?
Yeah, next year. And they're still making Elden Ring DLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I someone tweeted too, like how most of the release dates are in June, which
is true and weird.
Which sucks because it's like that's one of the reasons I can never like I feel like pick any or like keep up is because like I feel like everything comes out at the same time, and then I just maybe pick one of them. And or I'm just I'm just gonna play the other old stuff I have because it's just too much coming out at the same time. I mean, shit, like God of War's my favorite franchise, and I still only have maybe 15 hours in that, and then 13 in Sonic Frontiers, and that's pretty good for me considering the amount of time I have for video games anymore.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I think maybe part of the reason we did so well on the scorecard is maybe because some of them were just obvious. I feel like compared to last year where it was tough because I feel like there was not, I don't want to call them bad games or anything, but just like God of War and Elden Ring I would say are both S tier to most people, right?
Yeah.
So that's what made this one like, oh, which one's going to win? And then like you have your Strays and whatnot, which are high B's, low A kind of game, which is still good because there's a lot of garbage games that come out every year.
Right. And just, games just not as good as Stray in its type of, field, or even like Horizon. That's I would say, even though I haven't played it, from what I've gathered from other people and stuff, that's like a high A, you know what I mean? But it ain't an S, And next year there's Starfield and Zelda and PUBG Mobile with the Grubhub thing.
And assuming those games, are as good as the hype is for them, yeah, that's a tough choice, right? Yeah. You're just comparing apples and oranges at that point, which I think is what this was for Elden Ring and God of War. Granted, I think one reason I think Elden Ring, I would argue one, is because I think it was hyped more in the sense that we haven't had like a Dark Souls kind of game in a while, like that open worlds kind of new thing. And God of War already won, but I think people already knew what to expect from God of War. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I personally want God of War win, but I'm also biased, and it doesn't fucking matter.
Doesn't matter who wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides to them, like for us, it doesn't really matter. But unless Jeff.
But yeah, I
gives them
see
a
why.
check
But
at the
I think nothing we can do about it. But I wish like more Game Awards were less between two though. At the same time, like I wish we went in being like.
Yeah, the last time
Stray could win.
I think that happened was 2017, where it was Mario, Zelda, Persona 5. There were two. PUBG was one of them, because Battle Royale technically started that year, and there was another game too that was like, oh, this is also good. Horizon Zero Dawn. You know what I mean? Any of those could have won except for PUBG. I feel like that was just not going to win. And it went to Zelda, right? And it was like, this could be Mario. This could be Horizon.
And I played Mario like a year after that because I remember you let me borrow it or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I get why.
Yeah, it's awesome.
This could have been super polished, just classic, but also felt fresh. You know what I mean? I haven't even played that many Mario games, but still, it felt that for a game that you're playing on a mobile console, you know what I mean? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, it's overall, I feel like though, like, I thought this one was pretty solid. I feel like last year was more fun, even though we didn't do like a live show or whatever. But we had Sonic trailer.
Yeah.
We had Sonic Frontiers. So like for us, it was a little more exciting. And then the year prior to that, We did watch it together. We just didn't
Yeah.
live stream it, but the whole Vin Diesel being
Yep.
on
Arc
Arc 2
2.
like blew our freaking minds. So I feel like this one
Yeah.
wasn't like super hype for me. I mean, there's some cool stuff in it and just, polished stuff that we saw. But it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not like, oh my god, but maybe I won't ever be unless it was Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
So
and speaking about like premieres and cool stuff that was shown, the two big games for me, Hades 2 and Death Stranding 2. I've been checking Twitter mainly because I wanted to see if there was more information about that kid. I was paying attention to you, so sorry. I was paying attention to you is what I meant to say. But Kojima definitely says it's called Death Stranding 2. I don't know why they kept saying DS2 on stage.
well,
But
that's what the graphics said. Maybe it's just a way
Yeah,
to shorten
weird.
it. People know what it is,
Yeah.
so they can just say DS2
Oh.
for short, right?
it looks awesome. I need to finish Death Stranding. I have the motivation now to go back. I had to finish Destroy All Humans 2, and I have to.
Yeah, you just had to.
I just have to. It's fun, but I'm in Takashima, which when I went back for the PS2 version on PS4 for that platinum, that's also where I stopped. Where I'm like, all right, starting to get long in the tooth on this. And then Crisis Core remaster comes out on the 15th. You know what I mean? So I got to get back to Death Stranding here. And then Hades 2. Like, here's the thing. I beat Hades, in quotes, many, many times, but I never rolled credits. So I technically never finished the game, but I played just dozens and dozens and dozens of hours. I was doing the completionist stuff, end game stuff, as I was going to the credits. You know what I mean? Because I could have just, what's my one strat? Do that every time just to roll credits and then be done. But I wanted to kind of build up and do.
Yeah.
I wanted to platinum that game, so I fell off like an idiot. So I have no idea what's going on there. When we were reacting to it, I'm like, is this maybe they're doing a Roman take on it? That'd be interesting and fun. But no, it's Hades 2, and I want to know how Hades ends, so I need to go back and finish that now. I literally was playing the PS4 version, and I've been holding this and playing with this the entire time we were watching the Game Awards because I have to fidget with something. This is the back button to the PS4 controller.
Yeah,
So it gives
yeah.
you back paddles. And that's why I didn't play the PS5 version. I played PS4, so I could have dash be on here, so I can constantly have my thumb on attacks, and I can dash with my finger instead. I did the same thing on PC as well. And so, yeah, I don't know why I'm bringing that up, but, I want to get back into Hades, need to get back into Death Stranding. I'm excited for those two games. What premiere spoke to you?
Yeah, I would say the first one was Hades 2, just because I played the first Hades after you recommended it to me, and I did it on stream for a couple sessions.
You did more than
I
a
wanna
few
say-
runs. Yeah.
It was like 20 or so hours probably. But yeah, I got through multiple stages, and there was a couple times I beat bosses, first try, which was super hype. So it's one of those games where you feel rewarded, which is just awesome. I remember we said that that was our game of the year just
Yeah.
because Last of Us was awesome, of course, but we were just "Okay, just give it to Hades too, because we already know.
Yeah, that was the year where
Naughty
you had
Dog
Last
can-
of Us, Zelda, it was Doom, Animal Crossing, and Hades. Those are your five. And
Yeah.
Animal Crossing and Doom might be weak links there, but you had three really awesome games,
Yeah. So I guess I'm excited for that. I don't really maybe care too much about how it ends. I'm just hoping they build off of what I played, and if I can have fun for even if it's just another 20 hours, that's fine by me. That's awesome. And it looks like it still looks Greek, but maybe it is more of a Roman thing. We don't know yet. Still,
Yeah,
really.
I don't know.
Maybe they pull from
'Cause,
Roman mythology a little bit more,
Those were
because they
all
could theoretically.
new gods or people you talk to, all brand new, which what made us think,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But it looks just as cool as the first one, so that's my first one. And the other one, I feel like what was it, the freaking mech one, the armored
Core.
core looks cool. I feel like I heard of it before, but I didn't know too much about it. But once I saw mechs and it's in a post-apocalyptic kind of just Armageddon world. I'm like, hell yeah! And if I don't know what the gameplay is gonna look like, so we'll wait and see on that to get too hyped. That's another one. And then what's the Souls like Gothic one that not from Software?
The Lords of Shadow, or no, the Lords of the
Lords
Fallen.
of Fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool. And this is crazy for me to say this because I never thought I would like Souls, like gameplay wise. I've always thought all the Souls type of games looked cool. Especially like I really love Bloodborne's aesthetic, and I really like Dark Souls or Demon Souls aesthetic. I love that gothic medieval kind of look to bosses and whatnot. But this one looks even like extra gothic-y and just filthy. And I think I've said before, like that's one of the reasons I like Bloodborne is because I love that Victorian era look, but this looks back to more medieval high fantasy kind of look to it. But some of the monsters and some of like the stages you're walking on, just that looks right up my alley.
It's a good
so
time
we'll
to
see
be a
we'll see when it
Souls-like
comes out.
fan. Yeah,
we'll see when it comes out how I'm feeling about it, and I'll see reviews because there was another one called similar to it. I don't know if maybe
Revenant 2.
No, the same
From Ashes.
There's a game, Mortal Shell was called a couple years back.
Okay, yeah.
That I was interested in but never picked up because at the time I was like, this feels like a game I'd be upset with. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't enjoy, but it had kind of the same stuff where it's just a little bit high fantasy, some gothicness to it. Yeah, I feel like those are my big three that came to mind.
Just real
Death Stranding,
quick,
I would be more interested in, but it's just
gotta be a first.
I didn't like the first one. It wasn't for me.
There are 15 Armored Core games, but a lot of like
15.
Yeah, but
Spin-offs.
there's only 5 numbered ones. The last Armored Core game came out in 2013 for PS3 and Xbox 360. So
So it's been
like
10 years.
they went full swing on the Souls like stuff, and stayed away from what they were most known for before.
Also Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I just forgot about that one, but I think, and I said on the stream that like after playing Final Fantasy 7, because that was my first Final Fantasy game
Remake.
really, remake, that I'm like, I like some of the stuff in this, but my issues with the game was I feel like the combat wasn't as fast paced as I would like it.
Okay.
And I feel like what I'm seeing in Final Fantasy 16 from this trailer and the ones I've seen in the past, where I'm like, if the game is at this kind of pace throughout, and you can have all the Final Fantasy BS throughout,
I should send you the link to the previous trailer. It was all story and politics, talking about the different kingdoms, and it is just very well done. Like sometimes that type of stuff in trailers and in games and whatnot bore me to death, but that one was like, oh man, this is so interesting and not dumb. Like it could very easily be dumb.
Yeah.
And it was not. So
yeah. So I'm hoping, because if anything, I feel like I'm more hyped for Final Fantasy 16 than Final Fantasy 7 remake, which is interesting. I just never thought I would
we'll see.
be interested in Final Fantasy at all. So it's pretty cool to see that. I'm like, and I like the blood.
Yep.
I'm one of those gamers, right, that likes the violence. So
I don't think any Final Fantasy has been rated M before. Maybe I'm wrong. This one's rated M because there is a sex scene that was shown briefly in one of the trailers. So
they're showing them killing a prince, like a young boy, and I'm like, shit. Yeah. I even said in the stream, I'm like, kill him because I want that. I'm a messed up person in this world, right? So I'm the gamer that the politicians point to, right? They're like, see,
killed the kid,
right?
Game looks so good visually too. I remember the first trailer looking like okay. Like I thought it was a Final Fantasy 14 expansion because it had that look to it. And then these recent trailers, man, the game looks top notch. Coming out June of 2023. Street Fighter 6 is also coming June in 2023. They revealed officially 4 more characters. Returning character DJ, a Street Fighter 2 classic, and Street Fighter 4, he was in that as well. His outfit looks cool. Some of his moves look reminiscent of old things, like the constant uppercut. And then 3 more brand new characters. JP, Manon, and I forgot what the really, really big buff woman's name was. But I need to rewatch that because it was happening way too fast. I need to see what the gameplay looks like. But super dope, very hype. There's a $250 collector's edition that has statues of a couple characters and
Oh,
stuff. But then there's also like a deluxe edition that comes with the season pass for season 1 or whatever. The Tekken 8 one disappointed me. We were
yeah.
told
I was gonna. I
gameplay,
feel like it wasn't showing too much,
and
and
it was gameplay, but I wanted to see a match. Instead, it was stories. Like Tekken 7 had a really big story mode, like cinematic story mode, that went in, like gameplay would meld into a cinematic and back again, that type of stuff for the story mode. And this looks like it's what we saw was chunks of that for 8, and not like I want to see, just show me two people beating ass. That's what Tekken is. And they did, it was too short a trailer for me. Um yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's. I don't think I will get Tekken 6, but like if I
8.
saw
Sorry,
something,
did I say 6? I meant 8.
jeez, am I? We just sat down for 3.5 hours and got oversaturated with ads. So it's hard to keep my brain straight. Every year this happens to me. If anything, last year I think I watched it over 2 days because I was just like I'm burnt out. Yeah. So the Tekken. Yeah, I agree. Like I'm also I said this on the stream too, where like I'm at the point where you need to show me like gameplay. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how nice the cinematic. How many
Right.
times have we been fooled by the cinematic, and then it's just all right
Yeah.
gameplay or whatever. If anything, Street Fighter looks cooler just on that alone. But yeah, we'll see once it gets closer. Hopefully, we get more gameplay on that.
Yeah.
Anything else? I'm trying to think. That was we thought the Star Wars game was BioShock for a half second.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, but speaking
And I did call the Remnant thing as it was happening.
Yeah, yeah.
Remnant 2.
Speaking about BioShock, I forget the name of the dude, but creator of BioShock, BioShock Infinite, and also System Shock 2 back in the day. Ghost Story Games finally revealing their game, Judas. So history. I want to know who this guy's name was. Sorry, I guess we'll look it up. Doesn't matter. This dude made BioShock in 2007, and then started working on BioShock Infinite. 2K had another studio make BioShock 2, so that's where that comes from. So in 2013, so that's 6 years later, BioShock Infinite comes out. Game was changed dramatically during development. It looked completely different. Gameplay was similar, but way more whatever. BioShock Infinite is extremely streamlined. It is almost a corridor shooter. And like the whole choices thing wasn't really much in terms of the gameplay or even the narrative, even though that was their whole ludonarrative distance was literally a term people created when criticizing the original BioShock, where the game story does not match up with what it's trying to tell you gameplay wise. You don't actually have the choices that the game pretends to have, right? In any case, they make some DLC. And I don't want to talk about the politics of BioShock Infinite, which are kind of shitty. But regardless of that, they make single player DLC stuff, and essentially he begins to work on his next game with the team, but then decides, since it took 6 years to make BioShock Infinite, he wants to make a smaller game and he wants to make them quicker. So Irrational Games, which was the name of the studio before it became Ghost Story, laid off everyone except for 15 chosen lucky people. That's a lot of people. They made a AAA shooter that was for Game of the Year at the Spike Video Game Awards the year before the Game Awards themselves started, right? Including he laying off the person who is now in charge of BioShock, the new one that is in development, which is funny. He's also extremely hilarious on Twitter, that guy who's now in charge of BioShock. But I forget his fucking name, the guy who created BioShock and BioShock Infinite. Him and his 15 people. This is all behind the scenes stuff that people have been saying as they burnt out and quit the company and spoke anonymously. So many different game concepts were started, and then he sees what they want to do come out in another game, so he scraps it completely. They need to be first in whatever they do. So many game concepts were destroyed. And eventually he's like, yeah, we're going to hire a whole bunch of people and just make a AAA game. So now His game is coming out 10 years after his previous one because of his own inability to be satisfied with just make a game come out. They could have made a game and it not be good and learn some lessons and make a new game that's even better instead of scrapping everything. 2K kept the bankroll on the whole thing because they know whatever they make is going to be a franchise to them like BioShock was, and they have the money to just burn it and just see if they make, the next BioShock, the next this, right? So that's the story behind that. The fact that it's finally coming out, and guess what it looks like? It looks like BioShock again. Looks like weird, creepy BioShock.
When it first was happening, I'm like, is this BioShock? And you're like, no, it can't be. But I'm like, is it Bio? Like, because I was like, I just can't.
So many
it looks exactly like BioShock.
Like, I like the logo treatment. I'm curious as hell what it is, but yeah, and I will play it because, like, while he may have some Ayn Randian beliefs, and he may have a pretty shitty political viewpoint posted in BioShock Infinite, I am still interested in the game, and I will be getting Judas. It's also an awesome name for a game. Every now and then a game comes out with a name like Hades, and I'm like, yes, this is an awesome name. It reminds me of
there's
Doom.
A lot of like subtitles or like it'll be the first game, right? It'll be like
Horizon
Zero Dawn.
Right?
It'll just be like, or it'll be like Calypso in the Legend of blah blah, and it's like,
now
okay.
I'm torn because I mentioned in the reaction thing, I love a long title for a story, a game, whatever. The first Studio Ghibli movie was called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I love it. I love when a game has a long title. But at the same time,
I think it's hard to pull off, though.
Yeah. At the same time, I love when a game has the balls to just be one single word. Judas. I think that's awesome. So I'm interested
Dune.
in that. Yeah. Spice Wars.
Spice Wars.
Aquaman. Oh, there was
Aquaman.
that Kevin Conroy tribute, so to speak.
Yeah. Did that game come out?
Justice League kill the or Suicide Squad kills the Justice League? No.
Justice League kills the Suicide.
That'd be. I mean, I'd play that.
That's the ending.
I'm not interested in that game. That game is supposed to be like Destiny, but I bet they've been changing it. I don't know.
It hasn't come out though, right? Or
no,
it has.
That game was announced years ago.
So they're just saying Batman is in it, and it's Kevin
Conroy in his last role, and he dies. So like, whatever. Get our boy Roger Craig Smith to voice Batman again. He voiced him in one game. Let's keep doing it. So
I'm trying to think what else I feel like there was so much more, but at the same time, a lot of the shit blends together when it's. No offense, but there's a lot of like anime shit that just blends together to me. Where I'm like, this could, whether it was a Genshin Impact or new IP.
Yeah, it could be anything. Well, why don't, instead of us having brain rot and we're being tired, why don't we wrap up? This was overall a fun game award. This was not one of the boring ones. I wish there were maybe a little bit.
He did a little poll. He did a little poll of ABC. I would say it's a high B.
Okay. Neat.
I think that's fair.
And I think some of what makes it some of what goes in the grade is what games are being nominated and the quality of them.
Yeah, which is,
because
like next year all the games could be bad, and it's like, well, shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And then it's like, what do the world premieres do? Because to be honest, I was expecting something out of the blue, like a Metal Gear Solid remake or something that would make
really
me go,
that like
wow,
would blow. Like even if we didn't like it, just something that no one was expecting.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most of the stuff we didn't expect, except for the mech one, Armored Core. There.
Yeah. So.
Right. I think other than that,
that was unexpected.
I mean, was there some small stuff? But like
Hades
Diablo.
2. Hades 2.
I mean, Diablo. We didn't know. We didn't say Diablo was going to be in it, but like once we saw it, we're like, oh yeah,
and
forgot about that.
it does match up because Diablo 4 had hands-on preview coverage. Like I saw some people tweeting out, I got to play, 8 hours of Diablo 4. Here you can see my what we're going to talk about. It was like yesterday. Yeah. So like it was on the brain. And there was actually a report, anonymous people at Blizzard, a release date in June is going to mean a lot of crunch. So that game is not as ready as it can be, but they announced it like 4 years ago. So it was announced in 2019, same time as Overwatch 2.
We got a lot of Mario stuff. That was the other surprising
Mario
thing,
movie.
because we originally said there was gonna be a trailer and in our preview episode from 2 weeks ago, and then like the next day there was the the Mario new teaser from Nintendo, but then we still got a lot more, which we thought originally that like, hey, this would be a good time to market it because there might be people maybe are on the fence about it or whatnot. Like they need that press.
That
even if
Keegan-Michael
it's
Key skit, though,
Nintendo, even if it's the people who made the Minions, like they have that pedigree, you know what I mean? But like still, you still want to advertise it, keep it on people's minds so they don't forget, because it's coming. It'll be here soon before we know. We'll be both seeing it before we know it. So I don't know if we'll get any more now after the Game Awards. Maybe
they got to do they'll do a Super Bowl pop, and then there'll be TV spots. You know, the classic. You know, stuff.
But I'm saying like a major like teaser kind of thing, like we've already seen. But
well.
Yeah.
In any case, it was a fun episode of the Sonic Movie Show. We're a bit tired. We watched 3 hours of the Game Awards.
So it'll be 2.5. There was an additional. I think it was closer to 4 because
the fucking pre-show was half hour, and then there was the 2.5, and then it was longer, and then some kid said Bill Clinton at the end and got arrested. So, yeah, this was fun. You can follow the show on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show, TikTok at Sonic Movie Show, Instagram at Sonic Movie Show. YouTube at Sonic Movie Show. We did a stream where we reacted to the Game Awards. So some of our opinions we can find.
I would
there.
say that's the recommended way of watching this show would be the video version.
Yeah.
But
We're
I also
on
understand if you're
podcast
driving,
platforms.
you're driving in the car to work or whatever.
Don't watch us when you're driving. You can listen.
Oh yeah, please don't.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Ethan Absolutely. Devin's on Twitter at Cursona Fun. And yeah, we will see you next week for another episode of the Sonic Movie Show. See ya.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, me too.